Hello, hi there from Australia. Today I want to talk about soulmates and the idea of soulmates, but what really soulmates are actually like. So we have this lovely romantic idea of soulmates. I've met my soulmate and it's all so wonderful and we're so in love and it's so wonderful. And that can actually happen and you can meet someone who you feel is your soulmate. I think we have several personally within one life that we can choose from. However, so you've come and met your soulmate and you're very in love. The thing with soulmates is that sometimes a soulmate is just that simple. You fall in love, it's wonderful, and you do live happily ever after. However, there's another aspect to soulmates that people don't really talk about. Soulmates can actually be people that we do work with. We do soul work, I suppose you'd call it. And they are going to press all our buttons and they're going to help us look at all our lessons and they're going to help us face things and we're going to do certain work with them. So soulmates can be different things as well. The first one I think is that they bring stuff up for us. They are a reflection in some ways. So if you've had a damaged life and you meet another damaged soulmate, it's going to bring up your damage. And that's a good opportunity for you to both work through the damage and fix yourselves up and heal yourselves. And you have the support of the other person. So that can be that our soulmate is there to help us to really work through our stuff and fix it. The other one is a soulmate kind of thing where one person will support the other person. For example, one person might be working full time and the other person studying to get their PhD or something. And therefore that soulmate connection is also for servicing and helping the other person to get to their career or to create something. Therefore we can have it like a service soulmate where we're there, and part of our soulmate commitment to each other is that we actually support each other to get the life that we want with our careers or our family life. The other soulmate is service work, where we'll do service work together. Maybe we work together in music together, and by being together we can create this particular thing. We work together in starting some kind of foundation, or we're doing some kind of humanitarian work together and we both work together towards this. So soulmates can have lots of different dimensions to them, equally as important as just the love soulmate connection, but it's the love that we have to each other and that soul connection that we get, that person really gets us and really understands us. The other thing is that, and I want to bring this up on the podcast, even though it's not like my normal channel. I have another channel called Spiritual and Energy Work with Wendy on YouTube, and this goes into that field a bit. And there's also the karmic part of soulmates. Sometimes it's a karmic thing that we're together to burn some karma together. Perhaps in another life they did something for us or we did something for them, and then in this life we're going to repay them. And if you believe in that spiritual part of life, you'll understand this. If it's not for you, well, that's fine, it's not for you. However, the karma is kind of important because you'll actually be together till the karma's burned, and that means that you've got to understand that some soulmate relationships might have a beginning and an end to them, and then you have a choice. So once the karma's burnt, say you've done it and you pay back the karma, then you have a choice to stay together or not. Often those relationships actually do dissolve because the karma's been burned, and you can probably look back and see some relationships that you have around you or you may have been in where you can now see that once the karma was burned between the two of you, then that stopped. I knew of a couple who wanted to have a child, and they went through all the IVF and did all the programs and eventually had this beautiful little boy. And as soon as he was born, within a few months, their marriage dissolved because karmically they were together to have this child. And once the child was born, then the karma was burned and they chose not to be together anymore. So it was kind of weird. They had the child to make the family and the child was born, and then they didn't have the family as they had envisaged it with the three of them. Your soulmate is an important person because I think they're a person that you feel a really deep connection with, that the person and you really can talk to each other, like you probably have found with your soulmate that you've told them things perhaps you've never told anyone else. it's a kind of unveiling as you get to know each other more and more, and it's a very beautiful relationship to have. The love can be very strong as well with a soulmate, because your love is on that deep level, and there is a lot of trust there between each other, and a lot of intimacy between each other, and strong connection, and often very telepathic. You'll either say the same thing at the same time or finish each other's sentences, or you'll be thinking of them and then they ring you. It's a very connected relationship, the soulmate one. And I feel that you can almost have it with your friends too. I wouldn't call it soulmate then, of course, but it's a kind of a relationship you can have with other people where it's like a soul connection. It's very, very strong. And when you first meet, you can feel it like almost straight away, like I know you feeling. Soulmates do the press your buttons, so be very aware of that. They will help you to bring up your stuff, and you might not particularly find that very good sometimes, having your stuff rolled up, and they will reflect to you. They're like mirrors a bit, they'll reflect to you. So there's not really many places to hide when you're with a soulmate, and you might find that good and also bad. They are people too that are unique in relationships that you've had. I believe we can probably have 2 or 3 soulmates in one life. Some people have one and they stay with that person all their life. But I do believe that if the soulmate relationship isn't working, people will end it. And you can find another person who's obviously going to be another soulmate. Don't feel disheartened if you feel you've lost your soulmate. I feel there could be another one out there, because there's usually 2 or 3 roaming around ready for us to do it. Because some of us actually do the work and do the karma and fix it all up, and then we're done with that relationship. We've done what we're supposed to do, and then we can go on to another one and then have another soulmate. The romantic idea of soulmate is a really beautiful idea. You know, he's my soulmate and all that. But I just wanted to do this podcast because in reality, I think soulmates are actually more challenging than just dating. You're going to bring up all your stuff and they're going to challenge you, and because they know you well, you're not going to get away with telling them certain things. They're like, no, that's not true. No, you haven't dealt with it. They will push all your buttons, soulmates, because they know you. And that deeper knowing is good, but then you can't lie to your soulmate, really. They'll know, and you can't fob them off, and they'll come after you and bring you back to the spot and say, hang on a minute, have a look at this. So soulmates can be the most challenging relationship you'll ever have, but it's also the one where there's a lot of personal growth and relationship growth, and it can be kind of a wonderful thing because of the depth. I love the depth of it. It's not without its moments, of course, and you might even fight more. A soulmate relationship, you can actually fight and argue a little bit more, because there's a little bit of resistance and stubbornness there to do the lessons, or how you want to put it. However, the outcomes can be quite glorious, and these relationships can last a lifetime. People who feel that their soulmates will often be together for decades. They're struggling through in and out of all their different times together, but they still stay together because the love is very strong. In one of my other podcasts where I talked about that to have a good relationship, it's the triangle of love, which is a love, and then the other part of the triangle is harmony and chemistry. You'll find that the soulmates are very strong in the love one, and the harmony is still there even when they're kind of fighting about stuff. It's still underneath, and of course there's chemistry. So there's strong attraction, and that strong attraction that you have to that person, the kind of synergy that you have with them, and physically, and the attractiveness you have toward them as their personality and their energy, that actually sustains the soulmate relationship and makes it different to others. You'll be very drawn to a soulmate. Even when you're having fights and arguments, there's still those 3 corners of the triangle. So if you found your soulmate, or one of them, I wish you well with it. But when the times get tough with them, don't give up. They're there to bring up your stuff. You're there to bring up their stuff. You're there to both help each other grow. and become better people, and heal some of the parts of you that are damaged. That's what soulmates are there for too. They're very healing for you as well, because a soulmate is someone who really gets it, and they'll know when you're hurting, and they know when you need help and you need support, and they will be there for you. So enjoy your soulmate experience. If you haven't met your soulmate yet, don't give up. And knowing, I think there's 2 or 3 of them around, that if you have one that breaks and you don't have a relationship anymore, don't hang on to it. Just say, well, that was one of my soulmates, because I firmly believe there's more than one soulmate down here for us. And there has to be, kind of, because in this world of today, with change and illness and accidents, etc., it's more viable that there's a few different people that we could actually call soulmates. A lot of the relationships you will go out with in the love relationships won't be a soulmate, and that's why you can't, there's something kind of wrong with it. There's so many good parts to it, but it's not quite right. It's like one part of the jigsaw puzzle isn't there, and that's usually because it's not a soulmate relationship. You won't feel like that with a soulmate relationship. You won't feel like there's one part of the jigsaw puzzle missing. Even when you're fighting, you won't feel like that. It will feel right, and it will feel where you want to be, or even if you're fighting. But with the other relationships that aren't soulmate, it always feels like there's a bit missing. There's something not quite right about it, and that's a good sign for you. And they're not soulmate relationships, they're just love relationships that we have, and we be with those people for a certain amount of time. So enjoy your soulmate if you have one. If you haven't got one yet, put it out there to get one, please. And if you in the middle, just remember there could be easily another 1 or 2 coming your way. So I just want to do this podcast because it's a bit different to how our society sees soulmates. They don't see them as a working relationship, and I do. I think that soulmates will just press so many of your buttons, much more than just a normal relationship. But if you're aware of that and don't see it as a negative, you see it as a positive, you'll find it easier actually to be in a soulmate relationship, and you'll understand what's happening karmically as well. And from a service point of view, that you might be together to do some service work for each other or together. So I hope you have a lovely week with your soulmates, and I'll talk to you soon, and sending you lots of love and light.